whenever I'm working with folks, we'll take it to the whiteboard here. I'm looking at what is your current position? How much money do you make per month? How do you make your money? What are your living expenses? I look at every single dollar that leaves your economy, including your tithes and offerings. Look at your debts, every single one of them. Interest rates, balances, the amortization schedules. What's your cash flow? Are you positive? Are you negative? Are you break even? Are you sometimes positive? Are you sometimes negative? Are you sometimes break even? Are you always positive? Looking at where you currently are, where you currently stand. I'm evaluating your current level of knowledge around finance and basically figuring out what are you trying to improve in. Are you trying to improve your retirement? Great. We focus on the immediate things that you feel you're lacking in. And I just design case studies on this whiteboard particularly. I record it, send it to the client, or we do phone calls, Zoom meetings, things like that. So I start here. I call this your four major numbers: income, expense, debt, cash flow. The vast majority of Americans in the United States today, 2025, are suffering from an addiction. And that addiction is called American consumerism. We are getting eaten up by this disease. This is a real disease, and it bleeds into many areas of your life. The main areas of your life is your faith, is your family, is your fitness, and your money. And let me know if there's another major topic in this life. I'd say these are the four major topics that predominantly get discussed. And if there's a subtopic, I can probably fit it into one of these categories. So the fact that we as Americans have been conditioned for God knows how many years now to consume more than we create. We've been conditioned to consume in every area of our life. That means take more than we create. This shows up in every area of our lives, whether we care to admit it or not. So in my practice, when I'm coaching folks, this is the biggest thing that I focus on. And I don't do it the traditional way. And even Travis and I are in alignment with this. The traditional way of attacking American consumerism is becoming the complete opposite of that, where they use the words budget, right? And cutting off things as fast as humanly possible. Now, there is a place for this, no doubt, but it's not an end goal. It's not an end game strategy. It's not a long-term strategy. So oftentimes in the traditional financial space, the immediate response or reaction whenever you work with any kind of financial influencer, or I should say a financial professional, for the most part, identifies this. They may not say this, but if they look at your numbers and say you're making $10,000 a month and you're spending $10,000 a month, they're immediately going to say that is a problem. You need to budget. You need to reduce. You need to cut off. You need to subtract what you're currently doing. And then take that money, right? Maybe it's pay off debt. Maybe it's invest more, save more, give more, tithe more, that sort of thing. The approach that I like to take, what I've been doing in my career so far, is intentional living. We have traditional ways that when you go to a professional, their immediate reaction is looking at what you're doing. It's not bad. It's not the wrong thing to do. I'm going to do the same exact thing as well, and I'm going to make an analysis, and I'm going to say, hey, you've got cancer, right? You're like, think of me like a doctor. You show me all your numbers, and I'm going to say, hey, there's something cancerous going on here. Or, hey, you're doing great. Here's where you have a few inefficiencies that we could improve. And that's great. But I like to go a little bit further and figure out, how do we live an intentional life that's worth living? When we have this framework of intentional living and we combine that with faith, I look at faith as faith. I look at as intentional living as the works. Again, this is where you see the kingdom language, where I say faith without works is dead. When I talk to someone that isn't of faith, that flies over their head. But if I spice it up a little bit and use the words intentional living, they begin to get a little bit intrigued. And I break down the concept of having faith with works, even though I'm talking to a Muslim, even though I'm talking to a non-believer, even though I'm talking to someone that has no faith or very little faith. And that's the way I work Because at the end of the day, my end game is to draw you closer to Christ, draw you closer to faith. Because if I can get you to stop worrying about this, well, now you're going to have more time in these areas: fitness, your family, and your faith. Would you agree? Let me know in the comments if that's in alignment so far with what I'm saying.
I help moms, women build wealthy kingdoms that will last forever, and to have authority over their finances by helping them pay off debt, increase cash flow, lower your expenses, build your credit, all using your own income.